Hello, hello, my Mushroom mulets. It is I, the conspicuous moon. And, I just wanted to touch base with you guys and wonder if you're as worried about Shadowlands as I am right now. Because, let's face it, at the moment, we're kind of in a holding pattern. You know, the raid is out, half of it's good, the other half... And, you know, Mythic Plus is in full swing and we're still not getting the loot that we probably deserve from our efforts. But, you know, let's not entirely despair. I mean, Blizzard have come through with a solution. Quite an ingenious one. I have to give them credit for this, because they've really nailed it with this one. They've really, you know, identified what the actual problem with Mythic Plus was and gone ahead and fixed it super quick. I am, of course, referring to this blue post, which was... put up the other day that said, from the next reset, Tuesday, February the 9th, the amount of anima dropped by Mythic Keystone Dungeons and raid bosses will increase, so the Castle Nathria bosses will get much more in the way of anima, and yeah, 7 to 9 will now give you 2 35 anima tokens, and plus 10 will award you 3. And, you know, this is excellent because this is what, you know, the community has been crying out for when, you know, the main issue at the moment has always been, from the very beginning of the expansion, the lack of anima we were receiving at the end. No, of course that's nonsense. You know, the reason we're complaining about 35 animals because not just because, you know, that's not a lot of anima to start with. Let's face it, there are world quests that award more than that for a fraction of the time it takes. But it was more along the lines of the loot itself. So there was, I don't think there's anyone anywhere at the moment going, oh my god, I simply don't have enough anima. Despite the fact that, you know, the main front storyline for the whole Denathrius thing was that animals in short supply, I can confidently confirm that it absolutely isn't. You know, these people just aren't looking in the right places. They're in all sorts of very, very boring world quests. You can pick them up there, you can pick up your mediocre rewards in Mythic Plus, yeah, I've got plenty of it. If you don't have any, you just pop round to my place. You know, my night phase absolutely pinging with anima at the moment. You can sit down by the anima pool and have an anima cocktail and debauch yourself in all anima related ways. So yes, by increasing the rewards for Mythic Plus, that does absolutely nothing to address the actual issue underlying it, which is that PvP, which is something that some people don't like to do and aren't very good at, not referring to anyone in particular, is still the better pathway for actually acquiring gear to improve your character. My favourite bit of this post is the thank you for your feedback on this at the bottom. It's like, okay, but did you read any of it? Did you listen to any of it? Did you action any of it? Thank you for your feedback. We've made this change. Changes nothing. So yes, I need an extra 70 anima to supplement the 10,000 I already have in storage. Thank you, Blizzard. Maybe I'll be too harsh on them. Maybe there is a vendor in an upcoming patch that, you know, has mysteriously been discovered by Wowhead and their special data mining people. That could indicate that, you know, maybe they're going to introduce a vendor that doesn't bring back Valor tokens, but will allow you to perhaps upgrade the gear that you currently have, in the same way that you can upgrade Covenant armor at the moment. So now that, you know, we've mentioned that whole 9.0.5, this appears that it's going to be the next patch. At least this is what's been data mined, and it's been data mined very specifically to have an additional vendor in there. The build has been changed. There's no PTR yet, but it has been encrypted, which kind of suggests that, you know, there is something to 9.0.5 actually being a thing. But my immediate question is, why? If we take a look at the first patches, the 0.1s for every single World of Warcraft expansion, you can see that usually it took over 100 days in the first ones, and then after Pandaria it really did pick up. You know, it was a couple of months, 3 months, 2 months. Well, Battle for Azeroth wasn't finished, was it, basically, you know, when we started that, so it's not surprising that that took a little bit longer to come out. But, you know, by and large, you know, more recently anyway, it's been quite soon after the actual launch itself that we get the first patch, so, you know, people don't lose interest and stop subscribing. However, here we are, 75 days since Shadowlands launch, and we have a 0.0.5 patch, which isn't even on the PTR yet. So, I know a lot of people saying, this is probably quite good, this is probably quite good. I don't think so. I don't think this is good at all. A 0.0.5 patch is going to have this mysterious vendor. We don't even know what it does. It's going to have a few minor balance changes, perhaps, a couple of battle pets. What it's not going to have is dungeons, or raids, or interesting new content. You might get a slight extension of the campaign, but, it's a 0.0.5 for a reason. It's not very big. It's not going to be a major content patch. Which makes us wonder, how much longer do we have to wait for the 0.1 to show up? And will you still have any subscribers left when it does? No, I'm sure that, the official explanation is, it was a month late to launch, so it's going to be a month late for 9.1, and you must understand that, there's a global pandemic on, etc., and everything's, just slows down. The only thing that's really undercutting that at the moment is the fact that Elder Scrolls Online and Final Fantasy XIV have both announced large content patches in the last 2 weeks. Makes Blizzard look a little bit slow. I think it's probably just worth pointing out as well, for a start, that we have had, in the last week, a new bear mount, a new cow mount, a new battle pet. So, resources are being dedicated to projects, just probably not the projects we're more interested in. That said, I do love the bear. Thank you for asking. And this is where we get into the larger problem with Shadowlands at the moment. It's a bit of a delicate situation because, the vast majority of my guild, we are rating normal. We're by no means elite. Most of us are around about high level 200 or so, and we're just, progressing in normal. We've cleared it once, but we seem to be getting stuck on Sledgefest again for some reason. And so, we've got the rating, so that's, a couple of hours, 2 nights a week. And then, we've got Mythic Plus, but, it's not particularly rewarding. And at the moment, I'm running guildies through things to try and get them loot, but all they're going to get out of this change is additional anima. Doesn't really help that much. Doesn't help them gear, which is the whole problem, Blizzard. Hello. And, when you've got people who are around our level 200, then your world bosses, that drop 207, and chances are, even if you do get a drop, it's probably going to be largely irrelevant. It's going to be a very minor upgrade, probably not worth doing anymore. Then you've got the Maw. Now, if you've been consistently doing the Maw, then you are now exalted with Fenari, so you don't need any of her additional stuff. If you are hardcore dedicated, you might be grinding out Stygia for 7,000 a pop for a plus 16 secondary stat. I'm not one of those people, and I'm never going to be. So the Maw's pointless to me, because there's nothing in there that I actually want. Apart from a mount which you can use in the Maw, which has a 1.7% chance to drop and comes around as a one-off time shot every 14 days or so. So, not a lot going on there. Choregast is really a thing now. You clock over to Wednesday and the first thing you do is just get rid of, before you're awake, before you've had your first coffee, you just go and do Choregast, get it out of the way, collect your soul ash. There's no challenge involved at all. You just pick up, the anima powers that you need. So you just go through and you breeze through it, and it's nothing at all, and it's very dull. Twisting Corridors is like very dull times 9, so no thank you. Covenants, as Preach had in a recent video, who knew, but, people are going for the meta choices and not the ones which they actually like. Now, I'm an exception to the rule because I picked Night Fae as a monk. 60% of monks are Kyrian, but less than 60% actually enjoy being a Kyrian or anything about the Kyrians because, the ability itself is pretty dull. It's just very effective. But, most people are doing that, and there are some major discrepancies. If only, someone had warned them that tying abilities to covenants was a bad idea. Oh, that was pretty much everyone. Still, Blizzy knows best. And, we are getting to progress quite a way through the covenants now. The campaigns are done, and apparently story only applies in campaigns. There's no other story outside of it. There's nothing you have to do there. And so, you know, Covenants are, you know, coming to a completory phase as well. Most of us are now at 30 renown. The cap is 40. So another 5 weeks, we'll have everything that the Covenants have to offer. And, you know, what additional things are they going to have to offer after that? More pets? More mounts? Maybe, you know, they'll raise the item level of World Quest rewards or something. So, yeah, what happens after that? Is that it? We just exalt with the Covenant and we're done? See you for the next system? In the next expansion? Who knows? I'm sure we'll get more campaign stories, but, you know, it doesn't have to be restricted to the campaigns. As usual, you know, you had the same problem in BFA where you have these huge, beautiful expanses of land full of possibilities and adventures, and they just stick world quests and trivial word bosses in them instead of telling stories, and it's so tragic. I mean, I would have loved, you know, running through Nazmir and finding out about, you know, how that place ticks, because it was a fascinating place, but all I got out of it was a couple of campaign quests and a billion zillion world quests, and, you know, those chests that you can only pick up once. They never, you know, there's no chance of coming across one magically, and then getting war resources and grey items. Exciting. Anima is going to, you know, be largely irrelevant as well soon, because, you know, we are getting to the point where we are finishing up our anima conductors. So what do you do then? The only thing that's holding us back at the moment are those saved souls, because, you know, they have to time gate the content, because otherwise you might realise that there isn't a lot there to start with. It looked like professions were going to be revamped, but no, they didn't do that. You know, I don't expect that much money out of engineering, but, you know, the fact that I make more from swap blasters than from anything that Shadowlands has offered me so far is really quite indicative of how bad professions have gone, and I'm not hearing anything from guild blacksmiths, leather workers, tailors, etc. that they're making mega bucks from the things that they're crafting. They've kind of messed it up again. And it's really something they need to address, because that is a game inside of itself if you just make the effort. So I find myself rather at a loose end with Shadowlands, and I find myself, you know, running low on Mythic Plus to help guildies out, and it's just being with guildies. That's pretty much what I'm doing now. It's just Mythic Plus and raids, and that's it. You know, I don't really have any need to do any more world quests. I don't need any additional rep. There's no special Paragon rewards. There's no mounts attached to them or anything interesting like that. You've got the mission table. I've got an add-on that just does it for me, because I just cannot abide the mission table and have never ever liked it. I think the important thing that Blizzard need to do at this point is say what 9.1 is, what it has in it, what there is to look forward to. Because, you know, once again, this is something that other games do rather well. ESO, for example, has the entire year mapped out. We know what we're going to be getting and when. So there is a certain amount of expectation that you build up saying, well, you know, that's good, I'm going to stick around. At the moment, we've got nothing apart from a 9.0.5 possible patch that isn't on the PTR and includes a vendor, and so it's difficult to get excited about that. Now, you could say, well, you know, aren't you being a bit entitled? Aren't you being a bit of a dickhead? Why don't you go in PvP? Why don't you roll an alt? Why don't you do battle pets? Well, because I don't want to do those things, and, you know, I tend to play for the sake of enjoyment. You know, I'm not good at PvP, so I'm probably not going to enjoy myself that much there. Battle pets, I don't think, should ever have been added to World of Warcraft. I think it's an absolutely absurd idea, and I'm amazed that they actually put development time into those. As for an alt, I love my monk. I can play all 3 specs. It's wonderful. It's just that she doesn't have a lot to do at the moment. The final thing that worries me a little is this 6-month subscription thing, because, you know, if you know Blizzard, they do this, yes, they do the Chinese New Year thing all the time, and that's fine, and it's a lovely mount, and, you know, I'm a bit of a fan of cows, you might have noticed. So I'm still not going to get this, because I don't think there's 6 months worth of content coming yet. And they usually do these sort of things because there's no content coming forward. So, you know, they want to lock your money in, and so, you know, yes, you're bored to death, but you still paid us, so we're good with that. How do you feel? And I hope it's not one of those, because, you know, if it's going to be 6 months until 9.1 comes out, there won't be anyone playing anymore. It'll be another BFA graveyard, and it will be entirely your own fault. Right, so, you know, testing times, for me anyway. Let me know what you think. You know, are you worried about it as well? Are you getting as bored as I am? Or, you know, are alts just keeping you busy? Is this the sort of thing we should expect from an MMO? I'm going to say no, but you might have a different opinion. Let me know. Call me a knobhead, whatever you like. And I will be back soon enough. But until then, I am the conspicuous moo. Toodaloo.